You've just seen how 9 ordinary items can save your life when everything around you collapses, but here, the hidden danger almost nobody notices. Most of these tools are already disappearing from shelves, and experts expect supplies to be gone before December 2025. I'm telling you this because I've seen what is coming, and you deserve the truth. Start with just 3 items today, and whatever you do, don't wait to secure the one I mentioned back in number 7. That one will shock you when you realize how fast it's vanishing. Prepare now. Because once the crisis starts, knowledge alone won't save you. Action will. Number 1, honey. When an economic collapse or disaster hits, the world around you changes instantly. Supplies vanish, medicines expire, and people panic. But honey, this simple. Golden liquid sitting quietly in your kitchen becomes one of the most powerful survival tools you could ever store. Archaeologists once opened 3,000-year-old Egyptian tombs and found honey that was still perfectly edible. Think about what that means for you. While everything in the modern world has an expiry date, honey simply doesn't. It's low moisture, high acidity, and its natural ability to produce hydrogen peroxide create an environment where bacteria and mold cannot survive. In a crisis where you may lose access to pharmacies, clinics, or even clean environments, something that never spoils becomes priceless. But honey's value goes far beyond food. In survival situations, it turns into medicine. Raw honey works as a natural antibiotic that can be applied directly to cuts, burns, and infections. When the 2021 Texas freeze trapped families without medical supplies, one mother treated her son's infected scrape using honey because she had nothing else left. Within 24 hours, the swelling had dropped. By day 5, it was fully healed. This is the kind of real-world proof people ignore until they're desperate. And you never want to reach that moment without tools in your hands. Honey also fuels your brain at a time when you need clarity the most. Crisis increases stress, and your brain begins consuming up to 25% more glucose. Honey delivers instant clean energy, the kind that helps you think clearly, react faster, and make smart decisions when everyone else around you is panicking or frozen in fear. A spoonful in tea, or straight from the jar, can keep you alert enough to navigate chaos. But here's the part most preppers overlook: morale. During long emergencies, hope fades fast. A single taste of sweetness can remind you that you're still human, still fighting, still capable. That tiny moment of comfort can stop panic, restore focus, and keep you moving. If you want honey that truly works, choose raw, unfiltered honey stored in glass jars. It holds all its enzymes, antioxidants, and healing properties forever. Even if it crystallizes, a little warm water brings it back to life. Start today. Add at least 1 jar to your emergency kit. Your future self may depend on it. Number 2. Aluminum foil when the economy cracks, when heating costs skyrocket, or when a storm wipes out the grid. Quickly learn the truth. Survival is often about using ordinary things in extraordinary ways. And few household items become more valuable in a crisis than heavy-duty aluminum foil. Most people see foil as nothing more than a kitchen wrap, but in survival situations, it becomes one of the most versatile, life-saving tools you can own. A tool that can generate heat, conserve energy, cook food, boost communication, signal for rescue, and even collect water when clean sources run out. During last year's extreme ice storms in the southern United States, families with wood-burning stoves discovered something incredible. By placing foil-covered cardboard reflectors behind their heat source, they increased heat output dramatically, cutting fuel usage by up to 40%. Foil reflects as much as 97% of radiant heat, meaning every bit of warmth that would have been lost into a wall gets bounced back into your living space. In an economic collapse where heating costs are unaffordable or simply unavailable, that kind of efficiency can keep you alive through long, freezing nights. But warmth is only the beginning. In major disasters, cell towers fail, networks overload, and people lose the ability to communicate. Yet something as simple as shaping foil into a shallow dish behind your phone can boost signal strength, turning a no-service area into an emergency lifeline. Search and rescue teams confirm this technique works. In a crisis, one successful call can be the difference between rescue and tragedy. Foil also becomes a powerful cooking tool. When the 2022 outages left thousands without power, Families survived by cooking in foil packets over campfires, gas burners, even candles. And when sunlight is your only resource, a foil-lined solar oven can heat water to safe temperatures or cook food without using a single drop of fuel. Something that becomes priceless when supply chains collapse. It doesn't stop there. Large sheets of foil act as high-visibility signal mirrors for aircraft. Shaped into funnels, foil collects dew water during the night. Wrapped around shelters, it deflects heat in summer and traps warmth in winter. This tool costs almost nothing but gives you everything when the world stops cooperating. Stock heavy-duty 18-inch rolls now, before the next crisis makes simple items impossible to find. Number 3. Dental floss in an economic collapse. The smallest items often become the most powerful. And nothing proves that better than dental floss. A tool so lightweight, so overlooked and so cheap that most people never realize it can outperform rope, thread, and wire in a survival situation. One single strand of high-quality floss can support up to 30 pounds of weight. That's stronger than most kitchen twine. Because it's compact and nearly invisible, it becomes a reliable lifeline when everything around you starts to break down. Consider what happened during the 2023 Vermont floods. A family was stranded after the bridge to their property collapsed. Their elderly neighbor on the other side desperately needed medication. No rope and no safe way across, they used dental floss. Yes, floss, to create a line that carried the medicine across raging water. When no one else had a plan, floss became the solution. That is the power of small tools. They save lives when bigger tools aren't available. But floss isn't just for emergencies like that. In a collapse, food security becomes everything, and dental floss doubles as fishing line. The clear varieties are nearly invisible underwater. And when combined with simple, improvised hooks made from safety pins or can tabs, you suddenly have a functional fishing system that weighs practically nothing. That alone can feed you when shelves are empty. It also becomes a repair kit. Normal thread tears easily under pressure, but floss can stitch backpacks, tents, tarps, heavy clothing, and even footwear. The waxed versions help create water-resistant seams, while unwaxed floss holds knots tighter and works perfectly for lashing materials together when building shelter frames. In true worst-case scenarios, sterile floss has been used as emergency sutures by wilderness medical professionals. It's not ideal, but in life-or-death moments, it's knowledge you want on your side. Floss even performs as a cutting tool.
Pull it tight.
And saw through soft materials like cheese, clay, duct tape, even zip ties. And for security, nearly invisible tripwires made from floss can alert you to intruders or animals approaching your shelter at night. All of this capability comes from a $3 item that fits in your pocket. Add one spool of unwaxed and one of waxed floss to your emergency kit today. You'll be surprised how often this tiny tool becomes your biggest advantage. Number 4. Baking soda when an economic collapse hits and supplies dry up overnight. You quickly discover that the most valuable items are in high-tech gadgets. They reuse simple chemicals that solve dozens of problems at once. And nothing embodies that more than baking soda. That small orange box sitting in your kitchen cabinet becomes a medical kit. Cleaning system, fire extinguisher, hygiene tool, and water-saving resource, all in one. In a world where pharmacies may be closed, stores empty, and money tight, baking soda becomes a true survival essential. The first and most misunderstood benefit is medical relief. Under extreme stress, your body produces excess stomach acid, which can leave you doubled over, unable to think clearly or move quickly, a dangerous situation in any crisis. Emergency room doctors have used baking soda for decades as a fast-acting antacid. Half a teaspoon dissolved in water can neutralize acid almost instantly and restore clarity when you need it most. During chaos, the ability to think sharply is everything. Then there's fire. When people lose power, they turn to alternative cooking methods, and accidental grease fires become a real threat. Water spreads grease fires, turning a small problem into a deadly explosion. But baking soda releases carbon dioxide, smothering flames safely and instantly. In a crisis, putting out a fire without losing your shelter can mean the difference between survival and disaster. Hygiene also becomes non-negotiable. Without running water or normal supplies, baking soda transforms into toothpaste, deodorant, and even antifungal treatment. It cleans teeth better than many commercial pastes, removes odors during long periods without showers, and treats skin irritations when medical care isn't available. A little water and a pinch of baking soda can keep you clean, confident, and infection-free when conditions are rough. Its pH balancing abilities save lives too. When combined with salt in the right proportions, baking soda becomes an emergency electrolyte formula. One Florida paramedic used this exact mixture during Hurricane Milton to help an elderly couple survive dehydration. The recipe is simple and life-saving. 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon salt, plus 4 cups clean water. And then you have its drying power, absorbing moisture and odors to help keep food fresh longer during outages. Even cleaning becomes easier because baking soda cuts grease with only a tiny amount of water. At under $5 for a large bag, this is one of the cheapest, most versatile crisis tools you can own. Stock up now, because once a collapse hits, you won't find this on any shelf. Number 5. Duct tape. When the economy plunges, supplies vanish, and chaos tightens around you, one tool becomes more valuable than almost anything else in your home: duct tape. It's the closest thing to having an entire emergency room, repair shop, and construction toolkit rolled into one. This $5 item has saved homes injuries and lives during disasters, not because it's fancy, but because it's endlessly adaptable. In a crisis, adaptability is survival. During Hurricane Ian, one homeowner documented how duct tape and plastic sheeting kept their shattered window from collapsing completely. While neighbors watched water pour into their living rooms, this family's window held together through the worst of the storm. That's not theory. That's proof of what simple reinforcement can do when the world outside is ripping apart. Duct tape also becomes your structural repair system when professional help is incoming. It can patch a leaking pipe long enough to save your water supply, reinforce a failing roof segment until conditions stabilize, or seal cracks in water containers to stop precious clean water from spilling away. Even underwater, its strong adhesive maintains a bond. When the grid is down and stores are empty, temporary fixes can be the difference between staying safe and losing everything. Then you have its medical power. People underestimate how essential duct tape becomes when you don't have access to a hospital. It can secure makeshift splints for broken bones, hold bandages in place during movement, prevent blisters on long evacuation walks, or create slings for injured arms. Many hikers wrap duct tape around their water bottles specifically for emergencies like these because when injury strikes, improvisation becomes your lifeline. It also enhances security. After earthquakes or aftershocks, cabinets and drawers burst open, sending knives and glassware flying. A few strips of duct tape can hold them shut and prevent injury. It can reinforce weak door frames, secure windows, and even help maintain light discipline during blackouts by blacking out windows so you reveal your location to desperate people outside. In terms of survival engineering, duct tape continues to surprise. At preparedness expos, experts have built fully functional water buckets using duct tape. Torn tarps and coat hangers strong enough to carry multiple gallons. It can silence your gear, build shelter, create straps, patch clothing, and craft storage solutions in minutes. Buy heavy-duty duct tape, not the bargain roll. Wrap several feet around flashlights and water bottles so it's always with you. In a collapse, this ice and tea just tape it. Est your lifeline to stability when everything else is falling apart. Number 6. Vacuum sealer. When an economic collapse hits, one of the first things you lose, isn't convenience. It's food security. Refrigerators fail, stores empty out, and everything you thought would last suddenly spoils. But one tool quietly transforms that vulnerability into strength: the vacuum sealer. Most people see it as a kitchen gadget. In a crisis, it becomes one of the most powerful survival multipliers you can own. During Hurricane Ian, families who owned vacuum sealers noticed something astonishing. While their neighbors threw out hundreds of dollars worth of spoiled meat, vacuum-sealed food stayed fresh 5 times longer, even during long power outages. One family saved more than $600 worth of food simply because they sealed it before the storm. In an economic collapse, where every meal matters and every dollar counts, this isn't just helpful, it's life-saving. The science is simple, but powerful. Vacuum sealing removes oxygen, the main cause of spoilage and bacterial growth. Without oxygen, food maintains its color, texture, and taste far longer, even in unstable temperatures. But the survival uses go far beyond food. During floods, storms, or evacuations, countless people lose vital documents forever. IDs, medical papers, insurance files, birth certificates. FEMA has repeatedly emphasized that water damage destroys far more documents than fires. By vacuum sealing these items, they become fully waterproof, surviving complete submersion. Families who lost homes to hurricanes have later said the only things they recovered intact were the documents they sealed. Electronics also stay protected. Phones, batteries, matches, flash drives, and even small radios can be vacuum sealed to keep out moisture and humidity critical during storms, monsoon flooding, or long-term power failures. When space becomes limited, a vacuum sealer becomes even more valuable. Properly sealed supplies take up 40% less space, turning a bulky 3-month stockpile into something that fits neatly in a single closet. That matters when you're trying to store food discreetly or maintain low visibility during a social or economic crisis. Modern battery-powered vacuum sealers work even during blackouts, some running efficiently off small power banks. That means you can keep preserving food even when the grid collapses. You can also vacuum seal ice packs to keep medicine like insulin cold longer, a technique used successfully during multiple grid failures in the last few years. If you want a survival tool that pays for itself the very first time disaster hits, this is it. Buy a reliable sealer and start storing at least 1 week of vacuum-packed meals. Your future stability begins with this simple step. Number 7. Hand crank radio. When an economic collapse starts unfolding, one of the first systems to fail isn't food or transportation, it's communication. In past disasters, millions have found themselves trapped in information darkness, unsure of where to go, what danger is approaching, or when help will arrive. But those who owned a simple, inexpensive hand crank emergency radio stayed one step ahead. In a world where power grids fail, phone networks overload, and the internet collapses under pressure, this tool becomes your direct line to survival-grade information. During Hurricane Ian, over 2.6 million people lost power. Phones died within hours. Towers jammed with desperate calls. Yet the people with crank radios continued receiving NOAA weather alerts, evacuation warnings, and updates from emergency agencies. One woman in California survived the wildfire evacuation chaos because she heard a radio broadcast telling residents to avoid a specific road. That same road was engulfed in flames just 30 minutes later. Without that update, she might not be alive. Modern crank radios aren't just radios. They're multi-function survival hubs. Many models, like the Midland ER310, act as power banks, meaning you can charge your phone with just a few minutes of cranking. Even if every cable, tower, and battery fails, you can still generate power manually. That ability alone can keep you connected to family, rescue services, or critical apps long after the grid collapses. NOAA weather alerts have also evolved. They now provide hyper-local warnings specific to your county. These radios activate automatically even while you sleep, giving advance notice of tornadoes, flash floods, chemical spills, or civil emergencies. In an unstable economy, where infrastructure becomes fragile and social tensions rise, real-time warnings can become your earliest signal to bug out, shelter, or secure your home. And the psychological effect is massive. In crises, hearing a human voice on the radio, knowing the world is still functioning, that help is organizing, that you're not alone, can stabilize your mind. Information reduces fear. Direction reduces panic. Crank radios are also built to survive chaos, weather-resistant, shock-resistant, and capable of receiving signals long after cell networks collapse under demand. They work with solar power, hand cranking, or backup batteries, giving you complete independence from failing systems. Buy one now, test it, tune to your county's NOAA frequency. When the next crisis strikes and communication systems fall, this $30, $40 tool may be the only voice guiding you toward safety. Number 8. Tea tree oil. When an economic collapse hits and medical systems become overloaded or unreachable. Even a small infection, rash, or respiratory irritation can spiral into something dangerous. Pharmacies close, supplies disappear. Doctors become impossible to reach. That's when a single $12 bottle of tea tree oil becomes one of the most valuable medical assets you can store. This tiny bottle delivers antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral, and respiratory benefits that can protect you when professional care is no longer an option. Hospitals around the world use pharmaceutical-grade versions of tea tree oil because of its powerful compound terpenophorol, which destroys bacteria, fungi, and even certain viruses more effectively than many over-the-counter products. For preppers and families preparing for financial instability, this gives you a battlefield advantage, long-lasting. Natural medicine that doesn't expire quickly and doesn't rely on modern supply chains. In real crises, skin injuries are incredibly common cuts. Scrapes, insect bites, minor burns, fungal infections from damp environments. With medical care limited, these small wounds can turn into serious infections fast. Diluted tea tree oil can soothe, disinfect, and protect these injuries when nothing else is available. A few drops mixed into a tablespoon of a carrier oil like coconut or olive oil becomes a powerful topical treatment you can apply immediately. When air quality collapses during wildfires, dust storms, or building fires, all common in unstable economies, tea tree oil becomes a respiratory relief system. Add a few drops to steaming water and inhale the vapors. This clears sinuses, reduces inflammation, and helps you breathe more easily without needing specialized inhalers or medications. Dental emergencies also spike during crises. Toothaches, gum infections, and sores become unbearable when dentists are unavailable. A carefully diluted tea tree rinse can reduce pain, slow infection, and buy you the time you need until professional care becomes possible again. In crowded shelters or long-term home confinement, fungal infections spread quickly. Athlete's foot, nail fungus, or skin irritation can make daily life miserable. Tea tree oil combats these conditions effectively, preventing small issues from snowballing into debilitating problems. Its cleaning power is also a lifesaver when water is scarce. Diluted tea tree oil becomes a Norrinse disinfectant, keeping surfaces sanitary without wasting precious water. And its strong, clean scent provides essential mental relief, reducing stress and keeping morale high when times are hard. Choose pure therapeutic-grade oil, store it in a dark glass bottle, and keep it in a cool place so it lasts for years. Add 1 bottle to your emergency kit today, because in a real collapse, a tiny amount of the right medicine can prevent massive suffering. Number 9. Mylar emergency blankets. When an economic collapse or grid failure strikes, temperature becomes a silent killer. Homes lose heat, shelters overcrowd. Nights turn deadly fast. And the most life-saving tool in these moments, isn't a generator or a heater. It's $1 to Mylar emergency blanket. Created with NASA technology, these thin, crinkly sheets can reflect up to 90% of your body heat back toward you. That means a blanket smaller than a paperback book can keep you alive when your home drops below freezing. This isn't theory. During the 2021 Texas freeze, countless families sat in dark, powerless homes while temperatures crashed. Some resorted to burning furniture, running unsafe heaters, or huddling together under wet blankets. But families who had Mylar blankets reported something shocking. They were able to maintain survivable warmth through the night. In one case, parents wrapped 2 Mylar blankets around their children and managed to sleep comfortably while their neighbors endured dangerous cold exposure. That's the difference a $2 tool can make. But Mylar isn't just for warmth. Its reflective surface makes it an exceptional signal device. During search and rescue operations, aircraft crews specifically look for flashes of reflected sunlight, and Mylar is visible from miles away. If you're ever stranded, lost, or isolated during a collapse, this tiny sheet could be what leads rescuers straight to you. Mylar also protects you from extreme heat. In the summer, turning the reflective side outward deflects sunlight, helping keep shelters, tents, or vehicles cooler by reducing heat gain. In a grid-down event during a heat wave, something becoming more common every year, this can prevent heat exhaustion or dehydration. The material becomes a powerful insulation layer too. Sleeping on cold concrete, metal, or frozen ground drains your body heat rapidly. Laying a Mylar blanket beneath you creates a barrier that stops conductive heat loss. It's lightweight, waterproof, windproof, and works even when everything else around you fails. And because it's so versatile, a single blanket can be cut into strips to make water funnels, high-visibility trail markers, or reflective liners for a solar oven. It can cover broken windows, add insulation to improvised shelters, and keep moisture out of your sleeping area. Modern Mylar blankets are stronger than older versions, with reinforced edges and better tear resistance, yet they remain unbelievably compact. A stack of 5 fits into a glove box. Stock several now. Place some in your car, your home kit, your bug-out bag, and your workplace. In a true collapse, warmth, visibility, and insulation aren't luxuries. They are survival itself. When the grid collapses, when the economy breaks, or when disaster hits without warning, the people who survive aren't the ones with the most money. They the ones who prepared before the crisis. These 9 everyday items give you real power, real protection, and real resilience when the world becomes unpredictable. Don't wait. Act now. Pick 3 of these tools today, test them this week, and start building your security one step at a time. Hope isn't a strategy, preparation is. Stay ready, stay sharp, stay safe.